question. And all the things you've seen, do these aliens have, like we have pets, dogs and cats? They ever come with any other species of like a pet type of aliens?
No, but I had when I was in Sedona, and I was sitting on the front porch of the lodge, and there's a car that pulled up, and it was a late '50s Impala. It was a station wagon, and there was a woman who got out real quick, and she was dressed real simple with brown loose pants and a white top. And then a guy stepped out. He had a burr haircut. He looked to be in his mid-30s or whatever. He got out of the car, and then he went to the back of the car, and he got out this little girl who was about 5 years old. And she had short blonde hair, a real skinny face, and sparkling blue eyes. And they had a leash on her that had all kinds of studs on it, jewels. He sat there with her on this bench, and she turned to me and barked like a dog, and she sounded like a real dog.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, if you're saying pets, maybe we're pets too. That's the only time I ever seen something that like the question you asked.
Right,
I
right.
See any pets.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a little human as a pet. That's scary.
Yeah. Who knows what their agenda is? I mean, there's another thing. I think there's a lot of different species of aliens out there, not just one. And I think a lot of them are a lot like humans. There's good ones and bad ones. Who knows what is what? I got another question for you. After all these experiences, have you noticed it's a lot easier for you to detect when there's maybe those half-breeds around or any of those?
Yes, I think my third eye has been, my wife tells me this. She said I have a third eye and I can see things that other people can't. And I'll tell you, for instance, I was at a bar with two of my brothers, and we're musicians, so we were talking to the nightclub about playing there, and we were having a beer, just sitting and talking, and there was this little party of gals. They were in their early 20s, mid 20s, and one went over the jukebox, and she had a black dress on, and she put on the Michael Jackson tune, and she started dancing and swirling around the bar and the stools, and she looked like a professional dancer. I mean, she was really good. And she come up to me at our table, and my two younger brothers are younger and better looking than me. And I thought, why was she coming up to me? And I kind of sat there. I was kind of shocked because she was too young and too pretty for me, and I don't get into that. But she went back and she looked at me when I went back, and I just sat there. I didn't do anything. But 2 or 3 weeks later, my brother and I was there. One of my brothers was there getting a contract, and then 2 seats down from me, there she was. She was in blue jeans this time and a T-shirt. And I looked at her and I asked my brother, I said, "Is that the same girl we saw dancing?" And he said, "Yeah, it looks like her." And then she rolled her eyes to me, and this is the scary part. She rolled her eyes to me, and she had lizard eyes, or snake eyes.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Oh boy!
And I just froze. I just sat there and took a deep breath, and she sat there. I guess she was letting me know, and she probably knew I kind of picked up on her, and she was letting me know that. I've heard stories like that before, James, from other people.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if they don't have like those half-breed scouts around, maybe following you around sometimes, watching you from a distance. You don't even may not even know it.
Yes, I've always felt that, and it's like you're really aware of your surroundings. I've been there in the military, and they taught us to be aware of our surroundings, and that training pays off because I do watch. There's some strange people with strange energies, and I pick up on it, and I can tell if a person is bad or good. I guess a lot of people have that talent. That's not a rarity, but my third eye can see deeper than that a lot of times. My wife, she mentions that every once in a while.
Have they sometimes when you've been on those ships, have they ever took off? Like, do you remember flying in those things? And what was anything that you can remember that you've noticed you've seen in those ships, like gadgets or gears or tools or anything like that?
I saw a panel that they operate. The panel didn't have that many instruments on it. That was the panel that you turned it on and you walked down this hall and you disappeared. You went back wherever you came from. I all I saw was a few knobs. They were metallic, just like the ship. Wasn't any writing on them or anything, and she just touched a couple of them, and I guess that's what controlled everything. But I saw tables, kind of like metal tables, and I saw chairs. So they must work, or they're kind of humanoid like us. They must sit in these cubicles or do work or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that Noah's Ark ship is where I saw that. And the same thing on this other ship with this, I guess, hybrid blue alien. There was a panel just like this, similar to that, with a few instruments on it, just a few touch things. I guess they just touched it. But there was a glass window, and then there was another cubicle on the side. I didn't see what was in there. I just saw that there was a glass window between myself and another room. That's about the closest I've seen of any tools and anything. I don't remember flying. I don't remember flying, James. I do remember them walking me through my front door. It was a steel insulated door, and I walked through it in one of my abductions.
Now, let me ask you something. Hold on. When you say you walk through it, you mean you literally walk through the door?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. What they do is they turn your frequency up really high, and the reason why we can't walk through doors now is because our frequencies are set at a human level, and which is pretty low. But if they tune your frequencies up really high, then they can transport you, and they can. And I actually thought I was going to bump my head when I was approaching the door. I looked back, and I didn't see anybody. And so I put my hand on the door, and my hand started going through the door. And I got my arm about halfway through it. It started burning, and it started getting really hot. And I thought, well, I better finish going through this door. So I went through it.
Well, that's what I want to. Yeah, that's what I want to ask you. So, like, they're kind of like transport or teleporting you. So, what did that feel like going through that door? And also, do you feel like if you'd have stopped, you would have like been like the Philadelphia experiment, been like morphed into the door?
That's what I was afraid of. I was more afraid it was burning. It was hurting my arm really bad. It was burning, and I felt nauseous. I felt really weak, and I felt like I had to go through it the rest of the way. When we're not used to those high frequencies, nor are we used to magnetic energy that dumbs us down. It makes one feel really weak. It makes you feel nauseous, and your vision is slightly blurred. And these are the feelings that you get when you go through those dumbed down situations, or if you're escorted, out a door or something. So, yes, it's a feeling that's not a lot of fun. I guess if it happened, if they tuned you up a little bit higher, you would probably vomit or whatever, and they know how far to take it, I guess, to get to where you're going to go.
I'm kind of concerned about the long-term effects on something like on the human body if we're not used to that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, my thoughts on that. There is some, I guess you can call dormant energy that's stored in my body. I went to we lived in Alaska for a couple of years in Fairbanks, and went to the airport there, and they have this screening. It goes around you. You hold your arms up, TSA screening, and I forget what they call the machine, but it goes around you. It's supposed to pick up like gunpowder, explosive chemicals, or any metal or anything that's on you. And when I walked out, I started going for my bags and stuff, and the guy grabbed me by the arm, and he said, "You're not going nowhere." I said, "What do you mean?" My wife said, "Come on, baby, let's go." And I said, "No, I can't." I said, "He's stopping me." He said, "Yes, lady, he's going to stay right here." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Look up that there's a print of a human body on the machine, and it shows up certain areas that they need to look at, and they're flagged." I had 5 yellow spots on me, 2 of them on my chest, 1 on my belly, and 1 on my shoulder, and 1 down lower, right near my belt line. And I said, sir, that's metal in my back. I've had surgery. He said, that's not your back. And I said, oh, no. So they got me off the side. They smeared my arms and my hands down. They checked everything, made me take off even my socks. And they took the wand on me, and they went through all that. And I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to make the flight.
Right.
They gave me a little red card. Yeah, they gave me a little red card. I guess I was supposed to give to the stewardess to keep an eye on me. So they didn't know what it was. And still I don't know. And that happened again. It happened in Seattle. Yeah, it happened in Seattle. The yellow spots came up, and I told the guy, I said, oh, no, here we go. He said, what are you talking about? You can't talk to these people too well. They get pretty much on point with you.
Right.
So he said, there's the yellow spots. I said, yeah, I know. I've seen them before. And he looked at me and said, do you know what to do then? I said, yes, sir. I stepped over. Then that's where they really, raked me down. So, yeah, it's happened. Maybe they store energy in you, and that's the way they can find you.
Well, I know. I would say this much. After they're done with you on one of those excursions, there's got to be some kind of leftover residue energy of some sort. I mean, my goodness. Especially transporting through a door. I mean, that's some serious stuff the human body, I don't think, is ready for.
Well, so far, it hasn't hurt me. The only thing happens sometimes, if I put my hand on my wife, she'll feel electrical energy, and it bothers her, and she'll say, honey, says your electricity is up again. I said, oh, no. So I do have that, and actually, when I went through tests, like tests on the heart or whatever they were doing to me, a test on my legs, their equipment would malfunction a lot of times. Half the time it would malfunction because of the electrical. I guess my DNA has been electrified. I don't know.
Jesus. I wonder that sometimes, I wonder how many people that they've transported from the ship to their house, and maybe they've had some kind of mechanical problems and something's went wrong when somebody is, that transport stopped and they've fallen to their death or something. That's something to think about.
Well, they joined the missing and disappeared numbers, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot of those, that's for sure.
Right, yeah. I think they transport, David Jacobs says that they, more than half of the people who've been abducted, like I said earlier, they don't know it. So what they do is they come to your bedside. If whatever they're going to do, if they're going to take eggs or sperm, they can do it right there at your bed. And or either that, or they can transport you to the ship, and you don't even know it. You remain asleep. I know what they do when they make you sleep. I've been there, but also I've been there where I know I had a regressed dream, and I know how they erase your memory. I saw this. This was in Sedona, and I was there in the room, and this was the same day I was with that hybrid gal, and I was sleeping that night, and I woke up, and there was somebody putting a tube to my private area, and the tube was a brown tan looking color. I looked up and I couldn't really see the face of who was doing it. I kicked away the arm, and then they must have knocked me out. I went out again, and so I was totally out. If you fight with them, they'll knock you out like an anesthetic. Yeah. So then they got me up. For some reason, I regressed this dream, and I went back the next following year, took pictures of the room, took pictures of where I walked, and took pictures of the patio doors, and I knew for sure it happened to me. Like I said, I researched my own events, but what they do is one of them grabbed me by the arm and was walking me. Another one was taking a light up and down my face, and it was tubular. It looked like a fluorescent tube, 6 or 7 inches long, and they'd run it up and down your face. When it hit your eyes, it would hurt. I couldn't see nothing, but I did see another figure sitting in the little table next to us, and I saw the doors, and they must have walked me up and down twice with that bright light, and I saw the instrument, like I said, they was doing it. And they do it with light. They erase your memory with light. How that's done, I don't know, but I saw the tool. You asked me about the tool. That was one of the tools I saw. Yeah.
Well, another thing, every time that they've taken you, it's been against your will, right? I don't think you volunteer for this stuff, correct?
No, if I had a chance to volunteer, my wife even asked me this. I said, if I knew I was going to come back, I probably would.